Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to take a look at the Game Week 10 preview for FPL in 23-24 season. And I guess just for something a little bit different, and I guess similar to what we do with our Supercoach previews, I have noticed that you can access the most popular transfers in and out in this game week. It's probably something I haven't looked at too often, but I guess a good opportunity just to see what people are doing. And it looks like the number one trade in target this week is Ollie Watkins. So 500,000 people, which is about 5% of all FPL players bringing in Ollie Watkins. And I guess considering, you usually only get one or two trades per week, that's a significant number. So, I mean, if you are looking for a forward, he is probably the one to target. I guess at the moment I can't fit him into my team without sort of tearing it all apart. So happy to go without, but I can totally understand people wanting to bring him in. Mo Salah, the second most popular, and I think you have to get him in. He's just been so consistent. Liverpool look like they're back. They sort of had a dip last year, but they're looking good. So definitely Mo Salah, bring him in. Douglas Luiz, so I guess people looking at him might say, well, he's scored 5 goals this season, 3.2 expected goals. I guess the thing with that is just to be mindful that 3 of those are from penalties. I think the one against Brighton was a shot outside of the box that got through. I think it was the 6th goal in the 6-1 win. And scored 2 goals against West Ham, but one of those was a penalty. The other one, again, was a crack from outside the box. So, I don't think that sort of output is sustainable. And I guess the price, you see 5.5 for someone who's scoring about every second game. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'd rather look at someone like a Cole Palmer, who actually might be able to get him in the more section, because I'd say he's highly owned. So you can see he only cost 5 mil. He is the penalty taker at Chelsea. I guess also in terms of the predicted sort of team, he plays in a lot more advanced position than Luis. I can understand the one downfall of playing Palmer is his draw isn't fantastic the next few. Whereas if you look at Luis, all twos and all comfortable fixtures. But I just feel like even then there's more attacking upside with Palmer. So that's the way I would go. But you know, I'm doing all right this week. But other than that, I'm still a pretty average sort of player. Bukayo Saka, 50% ownership, so it makes sense if you want to bring him in. He is very good at the football. Simicast, so cheap defense option. Got the clean sheet, job consistency, top team, draws decent. Yeah, actually, it's pretty good. So, yep, he's definitely the one I'm targeting this week. Alvarez, I've already got, so I can highly recommend bringing him in, especially if you can't afford Ollie Watkins. Palmer, we just talked about, I think it's a great pick. Bowen, yeah, I could see him as a nice point of difference. He's not going to set the world on fire, but he will get some attacking returns. Son, Trippier, probably sort of keepers in their position, so if you can afford them, bring them in. Don't know how deep we're going to go here. Matty Cash I've got, so that's fine by me. Matoma I don't mind. Gordon I've got. Gabriel I've now got. Madison I've got. So, Lascelles is an interesting one. So Botman looks like he's out for a couple of weeks. So if you're looking for a $4 million defender that's going to play, chance of a clean sheet, I think he is your man. Areola, so probably wildcard players bringing him in, that makes sense. All very popular sort of options here, I think. Taylor, cheap defender, don't think we need to say any more on that. Oh, there you go, you get the top 20. Cool, good to know. Darwin Nunez is an interesting one. At the price, I'd probably rather Alvarez. But if you've already got three Man City elsewhere, I suppose he's the next best option. So we can do transfers out too, I think, this round. Excuse me. So Stupinan, looks like he's due back in a week or so, according to the report. So 4th of November. So it might be worth holding if you've got him. But if you need a player this week, like say Simicast, he could be the one to make way. Rashford, yeah, I think well done to the two. Was that 275,000 that have had patience with him? 17.1% of the competition that have had patience with him. But yeah, I don't think he's done much at all, to be honest. Like, yeah, a couple of attacking returns in round 3 and 4, and that's literally it. So, yeah, would be very excited to see the back end of Rashford if I was an owner. Botman, as we said, has got the injury 11th of November, so you know, trading him for Lascelles gets you a little bit of cash too in the bank. Haaland, I think this is a bit of a panic trade. You know, he scored last week. You know, he did blank the 2 weeks before, but other than that, just look at those consistency of goals. He scored 9 goals in 9 games. You want to trade him out? You've lost it. You know, I think even people might say, "Oh, it's to bring in Salah. It's to, you know, load up with Watkins and Son and that." It's like just find a way to do it without trading Haaland. You know, he's just too good. Fernandez, you know, similar boat to Rashford, a little bit more output, but especially playing Man City this week, I can see why people are getting out of the pick. Isak picked up an injury this week as well, so outside chance of playing, so it makes sense to trade out. Matoma, interestingly, on the trade out and trading list. There you go. So I guess people they're not deciding what to do with him. He's that sort of $6.5 million option that you can rotate around if you want, but honestly, I'd probably keep him. You know, he's not a trade in, he's not a trade out. He's just he is what he is. And Buemo, so he's one I have thought about using as a way to get in a Palmer. You know, to try and free up some cash. Um, I only have one trade this week, so it's probably not going to happen this week. But you know, with the upcoming fixture, particularly against Liverpool and I know Arsenal it was back to back. I knew there was two tough ones. He is definitely on the chopping block sooner rather than later. Phil Foden, you know, it's a bit like the Matoma type. You know, he's a bit more expensive, but you know, similar point output. I think you just got to keep the faith. Dogie, a few people getting out of after the scare last week. Sounds like he will play. And, you know, the fixtures are pretty decent for the next few. So, you know, hold unless you really want to get rid of him. Um, I'll just say that preparing for what my move is going to be very soon. The Kanji suspended for a week. So if you need a trade out, he's your man. If you can hold, he'll be back next week. Madison, that's an interesting one. Why would you trade him out? He's carving this season. Again, what did he blank last week? Maybe no, he scored goal, got a bonus point. Yeah, I don't know what people are thinking there with that. To be perfectly honest, Hoyland. So a lot of people scared of the Man U assets against City this week. Okay, yeah, Robinson. Yeah, he's out for a while. Get rid of him. March, what's his story? Unknown knee injury. Yeah, probably get rid of him. Alvarez is also on the trade out list. Very interesting. Maybe people upgrading to Watkins. And at that point, it's really just your personal preference. Almiron, what's he doing? Not much, apparently. A couple of blanks, but a couple of goals before. So, yeah, you can do what you want. Probably happy to get rid of. Morris, yep, okay. Edison, I guess unless you need the money to do a move elsewhere, that wouldn't make sense. Neto out. That's interesting. I would have thought Neto would be an in, but I guess the fixture against Newcastle is not ideal. And part of the reason why we're avoiding him for the time being, but he's definitely on our watch list. Darwin, another one making both lists. Saka. It's interesting, yeah. Lots of movement in players both in and out, which is pretty rare in other formats that are similar to this. Cool. So that was pretty insightful and interesting. I thought. If you thought so too, let us know in the comment section. Always happy to adapt as required. So I guess in terms of my plan this week, I did allude to it in the game week 9, sorry, review that Adogi's out. Just maybe the attacking output isn't there, and Spurs with their ultra aggressive style of play are always a chance of conceding a goal and not getting the clean sheet. And saying that, they have been doing well lately, and Love and Big Ange having success in the Prem. But I really want to get Simicast in for his run in the team, and unfortunately, I think Adogi's the best pathway to that. So that's the trade. Gets us to point 0.4 mil in the bank. And we might be able to squeeze a bit more cash next week with like an Mbumo down to Palmer type trade. Is definitely the way I'm leaning at the moment. Um, and then we might be able to do something with Archer or Alvarez to Watkins if we need to go that way. It'll just give us a little bit more flexibility, I think, which is very nice. So we'll make the transfer, lock it in, pick the team for this week. Simicast is straight in. I don't think we have to do too much here, although Gabriel against Sheffield would be nice. So who makes way? Is it Mbuemo against Chelsea? As I need a Chelsea player to see how they've actually been tracking. All players. Chelsea. Okay, Sanchez, he's played. So goals conceded 2 against Arsenal. That's no shame in that. 1 against Burnley, 1 against Villa. So yeah, 3 against West Ham. So I guess against the big teams that have been struggling for clean sheets. So wrong section. So Buemo's a chance. I mean, yeah. I think just the other guys are probably more chance. So might run with the 4-4-2 this week. And Buemo first cab off the rank. And then even probably switch them around. Because, we'd rather Kabore and play a back 5, I think, over although against Villa, it's probably not ideal. But that's okay. So captain will stick with Salah against Forest at Anfield. Back him in, and we'll save the team. All right, so that's how it's looking going into game week 10. So if you've got any thoughts, questions, comments, feel free to throw them down below in the appropriate section. If you're enjoying the FPL content, remember to give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel for all of the fantasy content across all the sports. And other than that, it's time for the outro.